Welcome to a short course on how to develop a powerful memory. Memory is the diary of life we all carry with us. We carry it right here in our head, approximately a 3-pound brain with 100 billion cells, a veritable computer between our ears. Unfortunately, most of us have not been trained in memory, so most of us use only about 10% of our inherited capacity for memory. We can quadruple that, quintuple that, if we wholeheartedly practice the systems and methods that I teach you now. First, let's consider the benefits of a better memory. Confidence is number one. Much lack of confidence in individuals can be traced directly to a poor memory. And by having a reliable memory, think of the embarrassment that you avoid in not remembering a name, a number, a fact, an appointment. Confidence is number one in benefits. Number two, organization. Many say there are only two kinds of memory, organized and disorganized minds. Others say there are only two kinds of memory, trained and untrained. Well, once the memory is trained and we follow the systems and methods that we teach you now, you will not only have organization, but you will have the third benefit of a better memory, saving time. And time is precious to each of us. Remembering the number, remembering the idea, remembering the fact almost instantly will save a lot of time. And next, how about remembering jokes for relieving some of the stress of today? And how about recalling numbers and facts with ease? Well, we're going to teach you all this. Systems that are reliable. A few principles, a few systems, and a lot of practice will make all the difference. There are three prerequisites to a better memory. The first is have a deep desire to want to remember. The second is concentration. Really listen, hear, and understand. Listen with the eyes, the heart, and the ears. Focused concentration. And number three prerequisite is care for people. If we really care about others, we won't have any trouble remembering their names and other things about them. There are also three laws of memory. I put them in active verb form because it does take work to improve our memory. The first of the three laws of memory is visualize. Visualize in a mental picture in your mind's eye whatever it is you want to remember. It might be a name, it might be a fact, it might be a number. We'll show you how to do it, but visualizing is an essential law of memory. Number two, repeat. Repetition is a core of education. It's the way we learned most things in our life. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Repeat it again and again. And in mathematics, 2 and 2 are 4, 4 and 4 are 8, 8 and 8 are 16. Repeat. Repetition is a key, is a law of memory. And number three, the most important law of all, because our brain is an associating machine, therefore associate whatever it is you want to remember. Make a purposeful mental association. Those three laws make all the difference. Visualize, repeat, and associate. We'll come back to them and explain them in more detail. Since association is the main law of memory, here are three ways to make better mental associations. We call this ACE. ACE is an acronym meaning action, color, and exaggeration. First, action. Build a lot of action into your mental picture. It's easier to remember that way. And then C is for color. Colors of the rainbow, yes. But color means anything that appeals to the senses, sound, taste, touch. And E, the most important of all for associations, is exaggeration. Something small we make huge. Something huge we shrink down. Or something made inside out, upside down. ACE, action, color, exaggeration for all associations. Let's get started with system number one. A system for remembering lists of any kind, the points of a speech, a grocery or shopping list, the goals you might have for the day, the week, or the month, or a list of facts or ideas. This is called picture-rhyme association method. Here's the way it works. We rhyme an object, the name of an object, with a number. One will always be bun. Picture a hamburger bun. Picture you biting into the hamburger bun, and instead of biting into the 100% all-beef patty, you bite into the object you want to remember. The objects will be different depending on what you want to recall, but the one bun, hamburger bun, always stays the same. Two is glue. You are pouring glue on the object you want to remember. You get stuck to that object and you want to pull away from it. You holler for help to have someone help pull you away. hard to forget, something you're stuck to. 3 is key. Picture a closet in your home, in your office, maybe in your bedroom. It's locked. So always have it in the same place. That key you use to open the closet. And once you open it, out come many of the object you want to remember. They knock you down, inundate you, smother you, drown you if it happens to be in liquid form. 3 is key, the key to your closet. 4 is store. It's best to pick a store you go to frequently. I use a grocery store. You could use a drugstore or a grocery store. You go into this store and you're stunned. There's only one thing in the store this day you go in, and the one thing is multiplied. There are many of the one object you want to remember. Hundreds of them. They're on the shelves. They're in the carts. They're falling on the floor. They're knocking you down. 4, store. 5 is drive. You are driving, or you have a chauffeur driving you, taxi or a limousine. You're driving along on a dark night and it's raining and it's slippery and you're going a little faster than you thought. All of a sudden up in front of you looms the object you want to remember and you crash into it, bang, and shatter it, and pieces go flying all over. 6 is mix. It's best to picture yourself in an exaggerated way standing on a stool. And there's a huge table there and a big bowl on the table. And you're using a giant mixing spoon and you're mixing in the bowl many of the object you want to remember. And they're coming out, swarming out of the bowl, falling out and on the floor and on you. Could be liquid, could be solid. We don't know. Depends on the object you want to remember. But 6 is a mix. 7 is heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. And there's a golden escalator right there in front of you, and it's going all the way up to heaven. St. Peter is at the top, beckoning you up. So you start up the golden escalator, and as you get up a ways, coming down the escalator stairs, many of the object you want to remember for number 7, heaven. And they push you back down those steel steps of the escalator. Ooh, that hurts, that cuts. Exaggeration, action, color. You end up right down on the main floor. But you do want to get to heaven. 7, heaven. 8 is bait. Picture yourself fishing, and you have on the end of the line the object you want to remember. You thought you were going to catch a fish, but no, not this time. Oh, you get a grab on the line, you pull it up, and it could be heavy, it could be light, but when you get it up, it's the object you want to remember, not the fish you had in mind. 8 is bait. 9 is dine. Picture yourself dining in your favorite restaurant, and you've already ordered. You've ordered your favorite entree, your favorite main course. And that's what you're expecting as the waiter or waitress, whom you probably know in this favorite restaurant, comes by with your order. And they put it down. And you're talking to them, and you start to cut it, and maybe you can't even cut it, but you go to bite it, and it's not what you ordered, it's the object you want to remember. Indeed, it could one day end up being your favorite entree, but it's unlikely. Still, it's possible. But even if it is, how could you forget your favorite entree? 9 is dine. You're cutting into to the object you want to remember, which you thought was your main entree. 1 left. 10 is pen. We all have a pen. We all use pens. We all like to give an autograph, wouldn't we? You're autographing the object you want to remember. Property of. Add your name. You're signing your name to the object you want to remember. Property of. Write your name. 10, pen. Here's a list of the 10 key picture rhymes. 1 bun, 2 glue, 3 key, 4 store, 5 drive, 6 mix, 7 heaven, 8 bait, 9 dine, 10 pen. Now, let's see how you do remembering a list of real objects using the picture rhyme association system. For number 1, I want you to remember a delicate china plate. The words I use are important. Delicate china ware. A beautiful plate, beautiful design. Oh, that won't taste too good biting into that, will it? For number 2, the object I want you to remember is a pen. Make it huge. Pretty hard to forget what you're stuck to. For 3, you'll want to recall a calf, a real calf, a baby calf, a new little calf, and it's a jersey, you can tell by the color, braying away. For 4, the object is huge statues of King George. Picture him in his regal robes. King George, statue form. That's all that's in that store. Hundreds of them. For 5, the object is a box or many boxes of Band-Aids. And remember what Band-Aids are used for: to connect the ends of a cut. Yes, to cover a bruise, but connecting the ends of the cut, Band-Aids. For 6, recall a mass of ice, a huge mass of ice. For number 7, beautiful Marilyn Vanderburr of Denver, Colorado, a former Miss America, coming down the staircase in her bathing suit for the bathing suit competition of Miss America. There are many Marilyns. That's what pushes you back and all the way back down to the main floor, though you want to get to heaven. For number 8, I want you to remember a model ocean liner. And as it comes up on your hook, it says South on the ocean liner, S-O-U-T-H, South. For number 9, hey, this will be fun, maybe. I want you to remember a ham. It's a new ham, a smoked ham that's on your plate. For number 10, I want you to remember a song sheet. The title is Carry Me Back to Old Virginia. Picture yourself autographing that. Now we're going to go beyond 10, and it's easy to do using the system you've already learned, 1 bun through 10 pen. For number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and on through 20, we're just repeating 1 through 10 again. So we're going to use the same pictures and make one thing different. You'll always know it's number 11, though we're using 1 bun, because everything from 11 to 20 is going to happen in Carnegie Hall. Number 1 bun in Carnegie Hall, you're biting into, for number 11, a souvenir, metal souvenir of the Empire State Building. Make it as large as you want. Pretty tough biting into that. But you're biting into it in Carnegie Hall, which is in New York. So in this case, it makes it easier to remember the model Empire State Building souvenir. Next, for number 12, again using 2 glue, but happening in Carnegie Hall, I want you to remember a model ocean liner. But it's marked on it, printed on it, N-O-R-T-H, North. And there are model cars on the liner too. And object number 13, which is 3, key, in Carnegie Hall, you want to remember, opening that closet in Carnegie Hall, a hen, a Rhode Island red hen. Many of them coming out of the closet, tumbling out, cackling away. Now you have a list of a baker's dozen, 13 objects. Can you recall them? Well, stop the machine now and write them down, 1 to 13, or you could even go backwards, 13 back to 1. Take your time, see how many you can recall, and then put down any little detail I added. It could be a help because, as I said, the words I use are important. Now let's review the objects and see how well you did. What's number 1? Number 1, plate. Delicate china plate, delicate china ware. You've really learned a history lesson, the 13 colonies of the Union in the order they joined the Union. What is number 1? Delaware, delicate china ware, Delaware. The plate reminds you of that. Number 2 is glue. You're stuck to a pen, pen for Pennsylvania. Number 3, key. You open the closet and what comes out? Caps, new caps, Jersey caps, New Jersey caps. 3rd state of the Union, New Jersey. And in the store, statues of King George in his regal robes, representing the state of Georgia. Number 5, you bang into the boxes of Band-Aids. Band-Aids is the answer. Remember what I said, Band-Aids that connect the end of a cut. Connectic cut. And number 6, mix. You're mixing a mass of ice, Mr. Senator, for Massachusetts. 7 heaven. Maryland is coming down the escalator as you're trying to get up. Many Marilyns that push you back. Marilyn Vanderburr, Miss America, the state of Maryland. 8, you're fishing. What do you catch? You catch an ocean liner, a model ocean liner. It's marked South on it. South Carolina. South Carolina. We could have put some model cars welded onto the deck of that model ocean liner too if you want to, if it makes it easier for you. South Carolina for number 8. Number 9, you're dining on a ham, a new ham, a smoked ham, New Hampshire. Number 10, pen. You are autographing the song sheet titled Carry Me Back to Old Virginia, the state of Virginia, the 10th state of the Union. Object number 11 is the Empire State Building, representing the great state of New York, the 11th colony of the Union. And number 12 is the ocean liner marked north on the side, and on top, cars welded to the model ocean liner for North Carolina. And number 13, hear the hens cackling away? Rhode Island red hens. Rhode Island is the 13th colony of the Union. There you have your history lesson. You'll never learn an easier one. And you should have it permanently. Or you might have to review to get it down pat and make sure. But once you do, you'll have it forever. And now I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, yes, but I don't want to learn history necessarily. I want to be able to use this in some practical ways. Well, you can use this system, picture rhyme association, for remembering lists of any kind. Let's take a shopping list. Now we're going back to 1 bun, 2 glue, 3 key, and 4 store. You're going to pick up 4 items in the store. Now you're going to put the new objects in where they belong. Number 1, I want you to buy a quart of skim milk at the grocery store. So you'd be biting 1 bun, you're biting into the hamburger bun, you bite into the carton of milk, squirts all over. You could even make it a bottle. That would break your teeth trying to bite into a bottle instead of a carton. Just remember to buy a quart of skim milk. Number 2, you're stuck to item number 2, a head of lettuce. You're pouring glue on the head of lettuce. Nice fresh head of lettuce, no wilt. There's going to be glue on it because that's what's going to make it stick in your mind to remember to buy it at the store. Number 3, key. You open the closet, what comes out? The 3rd item you want to buy, a quart of Neapolitan ice cream. You know, the Neapolitan chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. Many quarts are coming out of the closet. You can have them opening up and they're going to be creamy milk ice cream all over the place. Just remember, quart of Neapolitan. Number 4, store. You're actually going to the grocery store. That's what I use. And in that store, just 1 item. Nothing in the store but loaves of whole wheat bread. You only want to remember to buy 1 loaf of whole wheat bread. And you can make these gigantic loaves, and they're all over the shelves, all over the store and in the carts. What's the shopping list you're going to pick up now? Quart of skim milk? What's number 2? What are you stuck to? Head of lettuce? Number 3, key. You open the closet and out come a quart of Neapolitan ice cream, many quarts. Number 4, in the store, nothing but a loaf of whole wheat bread. You see how easy it is? And you can carry it on all the way to 13 right now, and 14, 15, 11 through 20, it's happening in Carnegie Hall. If you want to go to a longer list of any kind, 21 to 30 is happening in Yankee Stadium, or the local stadium where you live. And 31 to 40 can be happening on a 747. And 41 to 50 can be happening in the Goodyear blimp. And then as you go on, you can go down into a yellow submarine, just so you know the 1 different idea for each 10 numbers. You can go on beyond 100 if you'd like and memorize the whole magazine. Now here's system number 2, how to remember numbers in an easy way. We use 10 numbers, 1 through 9 and 0, and we use the 10 sounds of the English phonetic consonant alphabet. T, N, M, O, J, K, F, P, Z. We need to represent the sounds with a number, so we'll try and have a little rhyme and reason to that. Let's take the first 5. 1 will always be T. T is the sound representing T. Now, I remind you now that D and T are formed the same way in the phonetic consonant alphabet, so they are Siamese twins. They will both be represented by number 1, or vice versa. 1 is T or D. To remember that, you just need to know T. Remember that 1 has 1 downstroke and T has 1 downstroke. So 1 is T. 2 is N. Why? N has 2 downstrokes. 2 is always N. 3 is always M. M has 3 downstrokes, so 3 is M, M is 3. 4 is spelled F-O-U-R, ending in R. So we will always line up R with 4. 4 is R is 4. 5 is L. If I hold my hand up like this, 5 fingers, it forms an L. 5 is L. Now we have 1 is T, 2 is N, 3 is M, 4 is R, 5 is L. Remember also that 1 is D as well as T. Just knowing this much, let's take my old phone number in New York and see how it works. The number is 432-2345. That's 7 digits. Not too easy to remember, especially when it's brand new to you. What is 4? 4 is R. What is 3? 3 is M. What is 2? 2 is N. What is 2? N. What is 3? M. What is 4? R. What is 5? L. Now we have RMN, NMRL. You can add vowels, A, E, I, O, U, which have no meaning, and make up words, which are certainly easier to remember than numbers for most people. Also, you can use HYW, the half vowels, for spelling, and they have no meaning. Can you take what we have now, RMN, NMRL, representing my old New York phone number, and make probably 2 words out of the 7 letters? What comes to mind using vowels only? Many people say instantly Roman numeral. Now, it's a lot easier to tie in Bob Montgomery's phone number with Roman numeral than to always remember or occasionally remember when you need to dial the number 432-2345. It's that simple. That's how the system works. You put the vowels in to make words, but you drop the vowels and you have the original consonants, R, M, N, N, M, R, L, which now and for life can only be 432-2345. But you say, nice and easy as that is, what about an area code? Well, when I had that phone number, I lived in New York. The New York area code is 212. What is 2? That's right, N. What is 1? T. What is 2? N. NTN. Make a word out of it using vowels, A, E, I, O, U, or half vowels, HYW. Notion. You have a notion to dial Roman numeral. Now you have the area code in my phone number. And I hear you asking, well, what if there are 15 Bob Montgomerys at the corporation you're calling? Then you have to know an extension number. Let's say the extension number is 3212 and you're dialing across the country to get to it. How would you remember that? 3 is what? M. 2 is N. 1 is T. 2 is N. What do you have? MNTN. Make up a word using vowels or half vowels. Mountain. You can use that. Or maintain. You want to maintain this extension number in your memory. You have a notion to dial Roman numeral across the mountain. You have it all there. 212-432-2345-3212. That's a lot of numbers. It's a lot easier to remember them converted to words. 1 is T and D. 2 is N. 3 is M. 4 is R. 5 is L. Just 5 more numbers now, and we have the whole English phonetic consonant alphabet as used to remember numbers easier. Number 6 in a mirror backwards is always J. J is always 6. 6 is always J. 7 follows 6. K follows J. 7 is always K. But K is formed the same way in the consonant alphabet as C or G. K, kidney. C, cat. G, garden. K, s, j. The hard C and hard G in this case, not the soft C or soft G. 7 is K, C, or G. G, C, or K, 7. 8 is F or V. 8, a figure 8 is on an ice rink, is the same as a script F. Script F looks like a figure 8. So F is always 8, 8 is always F. And to remember the V there, if you see your feet, bare feet, then you see that the toes form V's. F and V, always 8. P in a mirror backwards is the same as 9, or vice versa. 9 in a mirror backwards is P. So P is always 9, 9 is always P. P, however, is formed the same way as B, B, P, P, B, B, called the popping sounds. So P and B can be used for 9, 9 represented by either B or P. 0 is spelled Z-E-R-O. O is our last number. O is represented by Z. Z, Z, can't spell many things, as zebra is one word you can spell with a Z, but S is formed the same as Z, so we use S more frequently representing O. S and Z. 9 is P or B. 8 is F or V. 7 is K, hard C or hard G. And 6 is J. And don't forget, 1 is T, 2 is N, 3 is M, 4 is R, 5 is L. There are the 10 phonetic sounds in English, consonant alphabet, and those are the 10 main numbers we'll use, 1 through 9 and 0. Here are some numbers to practice our system for remembering numbers. Let's take a combination locked number, 7412. First we convert it to consonants. 7 is K, C, or G. 4 is R, 1 is T or D, and 2 is N. You have KRTN or CRTN or GRDN, any combination there. Well, let's make up some words. Curtain would be one. Garden would be another, G-A-R-D-E-N. Carton would be another. See, quickly you can think of a word. It's much easier to remember number with words for most people. That's all there is to that one. You drop the vowels and you have 7412, whichever word you used. Let's try another. 4 numbers to remember. 4, 9, 5, 2. 4 is R, 9 is P or B, 5 is L, and 2 is N. So now you have R, P, L, N. Well, replan, that's too easy. But you can also use vowels or half vowels before the first letter and after the last letter. Remember, the letters are R, P, L, N. So you could use airplane, A-I-R-P-L-A-N-E. Drop the vowels, you have R-P-L-N, which can only be for life, 4952. It's that easy. Once you master it, it'll come to you second nature, like driving a car or brushing your teeth, things you do without thinking of it twice, things you do habitually. Practice it and master it, and it'll work for you, save you time, give you more confidence, and you'll be a lot better organized. All set now for memory system number 3, how to remember names. First, recall, a person's name is to him or her the sweetest and most important sound in any language, and the spelling is important too. We have 3 laws to help us: visualize, repeat, and associate. First, visualize. As you meet someone, get a deep, vivid, lasting impression of their mannerisms, their characteristics. Are they tall or short, heavy or thin? Beard, eyeglasses, mustache, redhead, brunette, blonde. Even the tone of voice could be a little clue, a little hint, especially on the telephone. Number 2, repeat. Repeat out loud and silently the name that you've just heard. For instance, you meet a man named Casey Thompson. Start asking questions using the name. Mr. Thompson, how do you spell your last name? And he says, T-H-O-M-P-S-O-N. Mr. Thompson, what is your work? If you find out something about the person, it's easier to make associations in the end. Also, if you have a business card, you can say, here's mine, may I have yours? You want to get their business card because then you'll have the name and the correct spelling, the title the person carries, the company they work for, their phone number and address. And that is invaluable. Later on, you can make associations for all this data. If they don't have a business card, I carry 3x5 cards, so I can write down their name and any information I want, for instance, the phone number, or I give them the card and have them write it down for me. One time seeing is worth 1,000 times hearing. The third and most important law of memory is association. For names, there are 5 types of association. We can remember all 5 with one simple word, the word Barnes, B-A-R-N-S. B for business, A for appearance, R for rhyme, N for nature, meaning in nature, and S for similar name. Let's take them one at a time. I met a man named Tom Carr. His work, he was an attorney. I made up the rhyme. Tom Carr, C-A-R-R, is a member of the bar. I have no trouble remembering his name, even though I see him only once in a great while. B-A, A for appearance. I met a tall man one day, the wife of a friend of mine. Tony Goal is his name. I said, what do you do, Mr. Goal? He said, I work for the telephone company. And 6 feet 5 inches tall, he looked like a telephone pole, tall and thin. So I made up little rhyme for that too, based on his appearance. Tony Goal climbing a telephone pole. I see him actually climbing the pole. Each one of these types of association will always be in the form of a mental picture. B-A-R, R for a rhyme. Well, we just had one. Here's another. I met a person named Susan Drake, but I made up a rhyme. Susan Drake can bake a cake, and she'll sue you if you don't like the cake. B-A-R-N, N, nature, meaning in nature. I met a man named Bob Rock. He was trying to sell me something. I didn't buy. I imagined him throwing rocks at me, and I bobbed out of the way because my name is Bob, and I picked up the rock and threw it back at him, and he bobbed out of the way because his name is Bob. Bob Rock, nature, meaning in nature. B-A-R-N-S, S for similar name. I've had a similar name to someone all my life, to someone or someplace. For instance, the late movie star Robert Montgomery, still seen on The Late Show. Robert Montgomery is my name, so people would always remember me easily because of the movie star. And then there's Montgomery Ward. Well, a lot of associations for Montgomery, similar name. There you have it, B-A-R-N-S. Remember this, every name will fit into one of these 5 types of association. You will always be using a mental picture. Always remember to include action, color, and exaggeration. Memory system number 4, how to remember jokes. Well, first you have to have some jokes. Where do you get the jokes? From your own experience, funny things you remember, recall that you've seen or heard or that have happened to you. Also from other people's experience. Also television, radio, albums, books at the bookstore or the library. Funny things kids say, funny things adults say, older people say. Art Linkletter has written 11 books on the funny things kids say. They're all available at the library. Once you get the jokes, there are 2 prerequisites for telling jokes. And number 1 is use only the shorter ones. Brevity is the first prerequisite of joke telling. Topicality is the second. Brevity is the soul of wit. Brevity is also the soul of clarity, and they're much easier to remember if you keep them brief. Henny Youngman is known as the king of one-liners. Bob Hope is the king of one-liners. Johnny Carson is the king of one-liners. Joan Rivers is the queen of one-liners. Rodney Dangerfield, George Burns, they all use what we call one-liners, 1, 2, or 3-line jokes. Fellow goes psychiatrist. He says, doctor, I've got a problem. I can't remember anything. Doctor said, how long have you had this? The man says, had what? That's called a one-liner. It's a short joke. It's not a long, shaggy dog story. So weed out the long ones and keep the short ones and use those. Topicality is the second prerequisite. Update your jokes. Don't talk about people who are out of the news or passé or have passed away. Update your jokes by making them topical. Talk about books of the day, movies of the day, people in your audience or people that are known to all. Topicality is important or the joke could be stale. Once you've fulfilled the 2 prerequisites, there are only 2 principles for remembering jokes. They are categories and key words. Henny Youngman is known as the king of one-liners. Recently, he started one of his shows with this routine. Thank you for the kind introduction. I just got back from a happy trip. Drove my mother-in-law to the airport. Category, mother-in-law. Keyword, airport. Then he says, introducing the next category for himself and for you and me, speaking of psychiatrists. Now, no one was speaking of psychiatrists. Henny is just telling you how he's recalling the jokes and a series of jokes. Psychiatrists. Fellow goes psychiatrist. He says, doctor, I've got a problem. I've got a ringing in my ear. What'll I do? Doctor says, don't answer. Then Henny says, speaking of brother-in-laws. He not only tells you the category brother-in-laws, he tells you this. I have 5 brother-in-laws. He doesn't have 5 brother-in-laws. He never had 5 brother-in-laws. He's just telling you he's going to do 5 jokes in the category of brother-in-laws. And then he starts. No more first brother-in-law. He was a karate expert. Got drafted. First time he saluted, he killed himself. After the laughter, he goes on. Second brother-in-law tells people he's a diamond cutter, mows the lawn at Yankee Stadium. If you're going to be topical, though, you would tell that only in season. Third brother-in-law, a real genius, just opened a tall men's shop in Tokyo. Now, coming back, Category, brother-in-law. Keyword, baseball. Category, brother-in-law. Keyword, Tokyo. It's so easy to remember all kinds of jokes in any category if you categorize them and if you simply keep in mind a key word. Oftentimes that key word will be a clue to the punchline, but if you keep them short, they're much easier to remember. Next, system number 5, an alternate method for remembering lists of any kind. Remember the picture-rhyme association method at the beginning of the cassette. We suggested that if we're going to remember lists of anything, qualities, abstract things must be objectized. Well, let's say you want to remember the points of a speech, so you won't have to use notes. And the points of the speech are qualities. They're abstract. We must objectize them, concretize them, in order to remember them. Well, we've done this already with the colonies, the states of the Union, the original 13 colonies. Let's say you're giving a speech titled Tools of Leadership. There are 4 points in the speech. Be a positive thinker, be vital, be persistent, and be a good listener. Let's take these qualities one at a time. You're giving the talk and you say quality number 1 is have a positive mental attitude. How will you remember that's quality number 1 without using notes? Picture the book, The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. In your mind's eye, starting the stack and link method, starting your 4 points of the talk with point number 1, picture a book here with Dr. Peale's smiling picture on the cover. The title of the book is The Power of Positive Thinking. And then from your own education, your own experience, your own reading and ideas, include in there things that you feel are important. Quality for success number 2 is be enthusiastic. The one thing that reminds me of enthusiasm bubbling over with vitality is Alka-Seltzer. So picture on top of the Dr. Peale book, The Power of Positive Thinking, linking into it a pitcher of water, and you are pouring Alka-Seltzer wafers into the pitcher of water. Alka-Seltzer contains sodium acetyl salicylate, and when it activates in the water, it's going to ebulliate, bubble all over the top of that pitcher and down onto the book, and the link is eating the cover of the book and the picture of Dr. Peale away because of that acid. All we want to do is remember vitality or enthusiasm as a quality of success, and then fill in from your own life and your own experience things that help you be successful by being more enthusiastic. For instance, if you're trying to sell yourself or ideas or a product or a service, you can't do it if you're not enthusiastic, can you? You don't want to buy anything today, do you? And people will just nod their head no. So quality for success number 2, be vital, be enthusiastic, be alive. And remember, the bottle of Alka-Seltzer should remind you of being a bubbling over person. Quality for success number 3, sticking out of the pitcher of Alka-Seltzer water is a gigantic cigar, the biggest cigar you've ever seen. It reminds me of Winston Churchill, who was always with a cigar. But Winston Churchill was also a model of persistence, and be persistent is quality for leadership number 3. The cigar reminds you of Winnie Churchill, and Churchill with the cigar reminds you of being persistent. And then remember what he said: never give up. Never, 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 never. You're going to need persistence, vitality, and positive thinking to be better at memory by practicing these principles we're talking about. And number 4, object in our stack and link method of remembering a list of any kind, including these points for a speech, the speech called Tools of Leadership, is a tool of leadership missed by many. It is this: be a good listener. Use questions. Encourage others to talk about themselves. How are we going to remember? Be a good listener. With the biggest ear you've ever seen. And we hang that ear, link it onto the cigar. We hang it on the top of the cigar. It's as big as an elephant ear, and it will remind you to be a good listener. Now we have 4 objects linked together, reminding us of the 4 qualities of success: The book, The Power of Positive Thinking, reminds us, have a positive mental attitude. The Alka-Seltzer being poured into the pitcher of water on top of the book reminds us to be enthusiastic, to be vital and alive consistently. And number 3, be persistent. That's easily denoted by the cigar, which is Winston Churchill's cigar, the model of persistence through World War II and beyond. And finally, the big ear hanging on the cigar reminds us to be a better listener for leadership and success. Remember, the skill to do comes from doing for all of the 5 systems we've taught you in this cassette. Practice makes perfect.